Hello and welcome to another Retro Core, and today we're going to be looking at something pretty cool. This is the Super HD Super Famicom game compatible with NES, Game Boy Color and Sega games. Yeah, it's only a Super Nintendo clone with HDMI out. Let's check it out. So yes, as said, this is a Super Famicom clone, and one with HDMI out no less. Not the sort of thing we normally see. So as you can see around the back of the box, we've got some blurb here. Pause the video if you want to read that, and some details about the machine. And as you can clearly see, it has HDMI out, as well as composite, but also has a couple of other nice little features. But first, let's see what we get inside the box. So we've got the console itself, and the console does look very much like a real Super Famicom. Now the only difference being is it's missing the Nintendo logos, and the Super Famicom logo here is missing. And one nice welcome is that the cartridge slot is now large enough to accommodate American cartridges as well as the standard Japanese or European versions. And you can clearly see that it has the extra pinholes there for Super FX games. The front of it has the two standard Super Nintendo cartridge ports, controller ports. And on the back of it, we can see two little switches, P and N. That's for PAL or NTSC if you're using the composite video. And over here, we've got another switch that says 4 or 16. That is an amazingly welcome switch. That is for 4:3 aspect ratio or 16:9. So all of you people who like to play your game stretched for some reason can put it in 16:9, and all us normal people can put it in 4:3. There's going to be some angry comments, I just know. But anyway, games are meant to be played in 4:3 on this machine, so that's what it's going to be set to. We also have the HDMI out and the DC power in, which is basic USB 5 volts. Alright, and on the bottom of the machine, nothing at all. Okay, so what else do we get in the box? Well, let's take a look. Well, we get this cartridge known as the Super Game cartridge. And this is quite a surprise because this is full of NES games. Not Super Nintendo games, but actual NES ROMs. So I'm going to take that apart. There's got to be something on here that allows NES games to play on that machine. And let's see what else we got. We have two wireless controllers. These are 2.4 gigahertz controllers, so very fast and responsive, or they should be. Yet to try them. Little LED there to let you know it's powered on. Yeah, actually not bad. Decent D-pad. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Yeah, surprisingly the buttons are pretty good too. Nice and clicky. And it's going to take two AAA batteries. Okay, so we've got two of those, and as well as that, we also get one wired controller. Now, isn't that pretty cool? Again, feels exactly the same. Also in the box, we've got our power brick, which actually has a bit of weight to it. So it's not the normal cheap, nasty power brick. Yep, let's see. Well, we got 100 to 240 volts, so multi-voltage. 50-60 hertz, and yes, it's 5 volts at 1 amp. Alright, that's surprisingly got a bit of weight to it, yeah. And we got the cables. Composite video cable, HDMI cable, and the USB micro cable, which will be used for charging the machine, or powering the machine. Okay, let's get this thing set up on the TV and see how capable it actually is. So here we are by the TV, and we've got the console set up with the cartridge that came with it plugged in. Let's switch it on and see what we get. Now we're running this through the HDMI into the FrameMeister, which is going into the TV. The reason it's into the FrameMeister is because it saves me having to get around the back of the TV and unplug the HDMI cable. Okay, now if you saw this in a shop with this on the screen, you could be forgiven in thinking that this is just a Famicom clone, you know, a NES clone. But it isn't. It's a Super Famicom clone or a Super NES or SNES. It just so happens that this cartridge, when played on this machine, allows it to play NES games or Famicom games. And as you can see, they work absolutely perfectly. The HDMI picture is a little bit soft, but it is clean and it is free of interference. So yeah, as far as Famicom clones go, it's pretty good. But that's not why we're checking this machine out, because we don't really care for Famicom clones. We want to see how it is as a Super Famicom clone. Oh, by the way, while we're here, let me just show you those switches on the back. So we've got it in 4x3 mode at the moment. Let's switch that over to 16:9. There you go, stretched and ugly, but it's there for those people who like that type of thing. Alright, we'll put it back into 4x3. So yeah, that is quite a unique cartridge. It actually, it actually plays NES games on a Super Nintendo. So we'll take a look inside that cartridge later on. So I have a bunch of Super Famicom games here, all different types, and we're going to check them out on this machine and see if they work. Well, first of all, let's check out Kirby's Dream Land. Oh no, Hoshi no Kirby 3 on the Super Famicom. So these are all legitimate games. These are not fakes or copies. These are the real deal. So let's get this in the machine. Oh, I just noticed it's got a nice little sparkly label on there. Pretty cool. Okay, this game uses a special chip. The name of the chip I'll put right there on the screen. There. And as you can see, it has those extra pins as well. So let's see if this functions on this clone. Now, games with special chips I don't really expect to function, but if this works, that's going to be cool. Seems like it's working. And the sound quality is spot on. But there is something wrong with it, and we'll come to that later on. Okay, let's get into the game. You see the few glitches on the screen there? Can you see those? Okay, so let's get into the game. But yeah, it looks like it plays this game no problem whatsoever. As you can see, it's nice and smooth. Same with the NES emulation. The HDMI picture is a little bit soft, but it's clean. And I'd just like to make sure that you understand that this is not emulation. This is actually running the cartridge. So this is a proper clone. Not like those retro machines where it loads the game into memory or whatever, or dumps a cartridge that plays it. This is playing the game off the cartridge. To prove it, if I pull out the cartridge, it'll probably just freeze. There you go. So yeah, it is playing it off the cartridge. Okay, so that was Kirby working. Let's check out GS Mikami. Now GS Mikami does not have any special chips in it, but it is one of the games that kind of messes up on poor emulators. So it'll be interesting to see if it works fine on this device. Alright, let's get into the game. Okay, so far so good. Just get straight into it. Yeah, that's looking good. I'm looking for things like screen tearing or whatever, but I don't seem to be noticing anything. Alright, success on GS Mikami. Alright, next game. Okay, for our next game we're going to take a look at a Super FX game. This is Vortex. And isn't the Japanese artwork just awesome on this game? Look at that box. That's awesome. Alright, let's get into this. In we go, and power, oops, make sure it's in properly, and power on. And let's see if Super FX games work without any hitch. Alright. It seems like they might just do that. Okay, let's get into the actual game. Yep, no problem there. Start the game. I'll just go straight into the game, no training. Yeah, and as you can see, doesn't seem to be a problem. I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, but the game is playing. Alright, so that's another good sign. No problem with Super FX games. But it would help if I knew what was going on. Alright, well, we'll take a look at another Super FX game later on. We'll take a look at Star Fox. And we'll do a side-by-side comparison of this running on this clone and a real Super Famicom. But before we do that, let's take a look at something a little bit interesting. Now this is a Japanese version of Run Saber. Now you may be wondering, Run Saber never came out in Japan. And that's right. This is my own homemade copy, which was made using EPROMs and so on. Now this will work on a normal Super Famicom, and it does work on this, the analog Super NT. But will it work on this device? Well, we're about to find out. And if it does work, you'll see something pretty cool, because it has a trainer at the beginning of it and its own cartridge. Look at that, isn't that nice? My own design, by the way. Okay, let's get Vortex out. Man, that ejector's pretty sticky. And put in homemade Run Saber. Alright, the power is on. And is it gonna boot up? No. Alright. No, that's not gonna work. Okay, well, not to worry. That is kind of expected, to be honest. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at this. This is Unholy Night. And no, Unholy Night, sorry. Yeah, Unholy Night, yeah. And, this is an independent game that was released for the Super Famicom. And I'm going to be very interested to see if this works, since my EPROM game didn't. But this is not an EPROM, this is a proper cartridge. So let's give that a try. In it goes, and power on, and see what happens. Oh, well, what do you know? It actually works. So it seems that only my homemade copy of Run Saber doesn't work. It's a bit of a shame. Let's see if we can get into the actual game. Now this game is a little bit janky, but that is not a fault of the machine, that's just the way the game is. Okay, well, we're gonna go the girl as usual, because they're cute. Okay, let's get into it. Yeah, it works, just like it works on a real Super Famicom. Now something else I'm interested in knowing, can this device play the Super Game Boy 2? And if it can it play it with an EverDrive plugged in? Let's check it out. So we'll plug in the Super Game Boy 2 and switch it on. I'll be surprised. Oh, the lights come on the Super Game Boy. Well, that is a surprise. It actually works. And the EverDrive lights come on too. No way. This clone plays a Super Game Boy with an EverDrive. Oh, that is awesome. Okay, well let's just pick a game at random. I've got to put my Turtles game on, haven't I? Where is it? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, come on. And we get a bit of colour because it is a Super Game Boy. Ooh, the sound is a bit distorted there. Let me just turn down the amp. Just a minute. The sound is a little bit distorted. But it's working. Ah, that is awesome. So this clone is looking pretty good so far. It's played all the official games. It plays the Super Game Boy. And it played the unofficial game. The only thing it didn't play was my EEPROM game, which is a bit of a shame. Alright. So let's get this device over to the table and take a look inside and see what's actually in this. And as promised, here's a look inside that cartridge. Now, it doesn't seem to be anything special, it's just a ROM cartridge. And that kind of makes sense. I asked the place where I got this from about the compatibility with Game Boy Color and Mega Drive, and they said you need special adapters, in other words special cartridges, to run those games. So what I think is happening here is the machine itself is capable of running different machines due to whatever chips they've used on it, and the games themselves just come on these normal ROM type cartridges. But unfortunately they said the Mega Drive and the Game Boy Color cartridges are really rare, and basically you can't find them anymore. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see them, but unfortunately they're not a thing. But at least we have this one. So let's break down the machine and take a look inside. So I've already taken the screws out to save you the boredom of watching me undo the machine. So let's get this thing apart and see what's inside. Oh well, I'm going to leave that for the moment. I just want to show you that the actual top of the machine is built in pretty much the same way as a real Super Famicom. So as you can see, the grey cover, it clips on here, just like a real one. So you should be able to take this off. Yes, it does, but I don't want to pull it off because it looks like I might... oh, here we go. We can just push it off here. I don't want to snap these clips. So it might be interchangeable with a real machine. Unfortunately, my real Super Famicom is away in the cupboard at the moment, so I can't get it out. But yeah, that does come off just like a real machine. Okay, let's take a look at the insides and see what's inside here. And there you have it. That's it. So here we have our video out section. Some nice big caps on there. What brands do we have? Let's have a look. Oh, Chenshin. Okay, definitely not popular brands. Got our cartridge port there. We got a little sub PCB here with a Wi-Fi antenna on it. Well, that's interesting, because this thing does not have any options for Wi-Fi capability. Can you see that? Got a Wi-Fi antenna on it. That's very interesting. Oh, I'm an idiot. That's for the 2.4 gigahertz pads. That's what that's for. And let's see if we can get this out without the spring flying off all over the place. Here we go. Let's see if we can pull that out. Oh, okay, well the bar stayed there. And there we have it, the main machine, just a bunch of chips, and looks like we've got some memory chips up here. Okay, let's take a look at those numbers. So the main chips are all marked TCT, and we've got a TCT 975, a TCT 978, and a TCT 976. Now I did mention before that this machine does have a problem with the audio, and that problem is it's in mono. Yes, unfortunately, as good as it emulates the games, the sound is in mono. So, yeah. Let's take a listen at a comparison between a real Super Nintendo and this clone. Alright, so yeah, the mono sound is a bit of a bummer, but if you're playing this on a small TV, you're not going to notice, are you? Because you're probably not going to have stereo speakers connected up. And yes, before anyone asks, whether you run the audio through the composite outputs with the audio coming from the left and right sockets here, or the HDMI, it doesn't matter. It's in mono. The whole machine is in mono, which is a bit of a shame. Okay, but as I said, maybe you're playing this on a small TV. You're not routing it through your stereo system or the super big modern stereo flat panel TV. In that case, it doesn't really matter. So what does matter is how well it emulates the games. And to see that, we're going to run a few games on this and an official Super Famicom side by side and see how well it compares. So there we have it. That is the Super HD Super Famicom game, a Super Nintendo or Super Famicom clone. So yeah, sure, the sound is in mono. That is a bummer, I must admit. And the picture quality isn't as sharp as a real Super Famicom or Super Nintendo running through RGB. And of course, it's not as good as the analog Super NT running through HDMI, but it is cheaper than an analog Super NT. And it also has the bonus of playing Nintendo games or Famicom games with that cartridge, which is a very nice bonus. So yeah, if you're after a capable, and let's be honest, it played all of these games, well, apart from my Homebrew run saver there. But yeah, it seems to be a very capable machine, and it seems to be running the exact same speed as we can see from those side-by-side comparisons. The speed seemed spot on, so yeah. I would recommend getting one of these if you're after a clone or you want something a bit interesting. Or maybe, you know, where you live, especially if it's in the States, a real Super Nintendo costs a fortune because retro game prices over in the States are just nuts these days. Like crazy prices. So yeah, this could be a good alternative if you just want something for that nostalgia fix, and you're not really too bothered on a picture quality and stereo sound. Alright, so keep on gaming guys and enjoy games, and I'll see you in the next Retro Core video. Take it easy. See ya.